Well, hey guys, and welcome to Group Week. It has been a minute since we all have been together with our groups. Due to the nature of how April was, we were only able to have one group week. But here's my hope is that sometime over the last couple weeks, I hope you found a way to get together with some or maybe all of the folks in your group. Because one of the things that we want to develop is that these weeks where we do, intentional group weeks are obviously a great chance to get together with folks and do discussions. But you can get together with the folks in your group whenever. And I hope that we all get in the habit of getting together for coffee or lunch or a walk or just texting, calling, just being in each other's lives. But for today, we are actually together in groups, and that's wonderful. So we want to take time to share with each other how we are really doing. By the way, I'm in my truck by the creek, and I'll explain that a little bit more in a little while, why I'm doing that. But here's what I want you to discuss. How are you doing? How are you doing really? What's been going really good in your life over the last couple days? What are you excited about? Go ahead and share that with the folks in your group. Other people should know. And then, has anything been tough? Are you struggling? Are you stressed? Go ahead and share that with the folks in your group. And then finally, when we got together at the beginning of April, we talked about prayer. And so, how has that gone over the last couple weeks? Maybe you were a part of our prayer walk experience. Maybe you've been just trying to pray more on your own. Maybe you've tried journaling. Whatever it is, maybe you wrote down an I will statement last time we were together. How has your prayer life gone? We want to grow, and we'll grow the more we share with each other. So go ahead and talk about that in your groups. Pause me, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, for today, we are in what I'm going to call conclusion number 1 for the Sermon on the Mount. If you've been with us, we've been walking through the Sermon on the Mount, which is this famous sermon that Jesus did for a long time now, a lot of months, started back in 2021, I believe. And now we're to the very end of the sermon, and Jesus has 2 conclusions to the sermon. So we're going to look at one during this group meeting, and then another one for the next group meeting. And here's why I bring that up, because we're going to mix things up a little bit, because usually what we do when we get together in these groups is we really try to look at just one text and try to ask questions about that one text. But this is the conclusion to a whole sermon, and so I think we should keep that in mind as we're looking at this today, is that this isn't just about this text. Jesus is trying to sum up all of these things that he has been saying. And one of the things that we have been saying, and one of the things that I think was absolutely true, is that this is a sermon that Jesus did not just once. That Jesus had like kind of a set group of teachings, and he did these teachings all over the place, and he did them many, many times. Back on Easter, if you were with us, we handed out a sheet that had a lot of the kind of key teachings that Jesus regularly would go back to over and over and over again. And a lot of these are found in the sermon. And now Jesus is saying, he's taking all of these messages that he's been saying, and he's going to sum them up. Now, why I'm in my truck by the creek is because, well, first, why I'm in my truck is because I tried to do this initially outside, but it's like crazy windy today, so you wouldn't have heard me talk. All you would have heard is shh. So you can start the habit of doing coffee or lunch or a walk or a phone call. That's why I'm in my truck by the creek, and not actually by the creek, which is where I wanted to be. But a lot of the teachings that Jesus did are wonderful, and I believe are just absolutely life-giving. But so many of them are just countercultural. They are just not natural. They are in many ways as if you were to go and try to go upstream. And one of the things that Jesus is going to say in this conclusion that you're going to look at today, he's going to give a couple different analogies. And one of them is that there's kind of like a normal way in which most of culture is going. Most of society is living and moving in this one direction. And Jesus is now telling us that he wants us to turn around and try to walk against the current. Try to walk in this counterintuitive way that he is telling us is really the best way to live. Here's the way I think about it, is that a lot of folks, everybody wants to make their life better. But a lot of folks are looking for like a the get rich quick scheme, the silver bullet, the magic pill that like all you have to do this and like just instantaneously your life is going to be better. And oftentimes that's not the way things work. And if you look at individuals, I bet you know some of these individuals, and just their life is just seems to be really working well. Like they have achieved, financial peace. It's not that they're rich, but they're out of debt, and their finances are just in order. Their schedule is in order. You look at their family, you look at like the way in which their marriage works. You look at the impact that they're having. You look at like their mental health. You look at their physical health. If you ask like, how did you get to where you are? Almost none of them would say, it was just like this super easy, like magic bullet thing that I took. They will say, I have made repeated decisions. I've had repeated habits over the years, and just for days and weeks and months and years, I have just decided over and over and over again that, when everyone else was just spending money on credit cards, I went against the current and I was saving my money. When everyone else was living selfishly, I was deciding to make these other decisions. When everybody else was just, running themselves ragged, I forced myself to have a schedule and to go to bed. And you will find that they just live these like counterintuitive things, but they're not always easy. And Jesus is saying that if you want to live this kingdom, eternal, heaven right here on earth kind of life, then it's going to mean that you're going to have to intentionally choose a way of life that is not the normal way. The other thing that Jesus is going to talk about is, who are you following? Who are you listening to? All of us have role models. All of us have mentors. We have people that are teaching us, and some of us is like actual individuals that we know and we look at. For others, it's books we read or podcasts we listen to. But there's people that we are allowing to teach us and instruct us on how we are living our lives. And a question that we should ask is, are those people? Should we be listening to them? Are they the kind of people that we should be following their advice? And Jesus is going to give us a really practical way to judge, is this an individual, a teacher, an influencer that I should really be looking at? And I think that you guys will have a lot of good discussions as you guys talk about that. But I would encourage you, as you go through the questions today, I don't know if you have this sheet that we looked at in Easter, this could be a pretty helpful thing to kind of look through and say, as I'm looking at living a counterintuitive life, which of these counterintuitive teachings of Jesus is most difficult to me? Which one am I most being called to? And then, of course, we want you to ask the same questions that we ask every time we're together. As you look at this section today, Matthew 7, 13 through 20, what does this tell us about God? What is God like? What does God value? What is God telling us to do? And then what does this tell us about people? What does this tell us about us and the way in which we naturally drift our lives? And then please, please, please take time to discuss and write down and share. And next time you're together, you can talk about it. Write down an I will statement. Based off of what we talked about today, over the next few days, I will do what? And I'm so excited for the discussion you guys are about to have. So go ahead and get to it, and we'll talk to you soon.